starting our meeting at exactly 6 o'clock. Ms. Brenda, can I get a call to order, please? Roll call.
Bonnie,
Here.
Brad,
Here.
Jennifer,
Here.
Rob,
Here?
Faith,
Here.
and Allison.
Here.
All right, thank you all. I need a motion and a second for the approval minutes.
Motion?
All right,
Second.
Rob, second with Faith. Ms.
Faith,
Brenda?
Yes. Mike,
Yes.
Brad,
Yes.
Bonnie,
Yes.
Jennifer,
Yes.
Rob.
Yes.
All right, thanks, council. If we brought the sign-up sheet here, but we want to make sure anybody that wants to speak, we'll make sure everybody gets to speak, okay? So if your name's not on here, and when we get through this list, we'll make sure everybody gets a chance to speak on behalf of this project. I'm not writing your name on, I'm just kidding. I know who you are, Larry. We'll make sure you get up here and get a chance to speak a little bit. All right, what I'd like to do before we get started, I want to make sure, this is for the audience, this is for the residents that are there, that are in that area, the development, and it's for anybody that's watching it on YouTube. This is actual truth. I've had people reach out to me, acquaintances, that said, "Hey, Mayor, can you stop them from selling that property?" I had another one say, "Mayor, can you stop these developers from coming into our community?" I want you all to know the legal side of things first. I think it's very important. In America, if you own property, you can sell it to who and when you want to. That is your right as an American. Your other right is the developers can go into any community in the USA, and they can look for property. The difference in all of that is that both of them have legal rights. What you have is how it's actually constituted in the city and the communities all across this country. I need you all to understand that. So the mayor and the council, we do not stop developers from coming in this community, and we don't stop people from selling their property. There are a lot of things being said. I think it's obviously a very sensitive topic, but I think for everybody here, it's important for you to understand where our role is in this and what we can and cannot do. So no, we can't tell property owners, we can't tell property owners they can't sell it. We can't also tell them what to do with it. So it's important we start off with that. Since that's actually the case today, let's start out with this. Let's start out with a story. Let's start with a story that a person wants to sell their property here in this community. They put it up for sale. A developer comes into the city and says, "I'm going to look for a piece of property that fits my plan." So they go searching all over the city, and they find one that they like, that actually matches the comprehensive plan. In the process of that comprehensive plan, now they're interested. So they go talk to the owners. And the owners, they kind of like each other, and they kind of talk about this thing. And then, what we do as a city, I require anybody who comes into the city of Shepherdsville to come see us at City Hall. I want to know what you're building, why you're building it, and what the effect of it is going to be in our community. We do that. That's the first thing. When they came in, I want you all to know, Larry, this is specifically for you, but for more. Larry's been complaining about the drainage over there for years. I know, because in the 3 years I've been in office, I've heard from at least a dozen times. But it's important that he knows that I know that's important. Now, how we take care of that, we talked to the developers and said, "Hey, you have something you want? Something that fits the comprehensive plan?" We say, "We got something we want." And they said, "No problem. We'll definitely look at mitigating the water in that situation." So it goes from that, not required, not legally required. Now, we also require, we just said, "Hey, Mayor always mandates that if you come into this city, no matter what you build, whoever you're going to touch, whoever you're going to affect, you need to have a meeting with them. You need to have that meeting." We've been doing this for almost 2 years now, and we make any developer that comes into this city, I don't care what you're building, but you need to come, you need to meet those people. You need to start building a relationship and find out what you're building and what their concerns are. They had 2 committee meetings, 2, to make sure that people get a chance to hear. Again, concerns are concerns, and we understand the sensitivity of it. So at this point, there's not legally anything they had to do. But now they start the legal process, and that's important. The legal process is now between the owner and the developer. The developer says, "Now, we've got some interest. We think we can make this thing work." What do they have to do? They go to planning and zoning. They go get on the docket, and they make their presentation. Now, this will be the 3rd presentation they make to the public. So now, the 3rd presentation, they go in there, the commission's going to listen to their development, going to listen to all the residents and the concerns that you have, And then the commission's gonna take all that information in, even make some of their own modifications. Excuse me, sir. You'll get a chance to talk. Thank you. All right. So now, excuse me, sir. Again, we're gonna do this in the way, we're gonna be respectful. Thank you. Anyway, so in the sense of that, so then they go to that meeting, they have everybody involved, and after everything is, they deliberate. Overwhelming 9-1, they said that this fits the comprehensive plan, and they've met modifications by the planning and zoning. This is the legal process. I'm not saying it's getting approved or not approved. I'm just telling you the process, because a lot of times, people want to insinuate. Then, second phase is tonight. 6 o'clock here, we're having our city council meeting for them to make another presentation, for you to hear it. The residents will be heard again on any of your concerns. And then what the council will do is they'll take all this information in. Today is a public hearing. Now, the next meeting we have will be a first reading. And then there'll be a second reading with a vote from this council. And all I've encouraged these council, whether they yes or no, that's not what I concern myself with. I concern myself with the legal process. I expect them to take all this information in, and however they will vote that way, and then they will explain to you why they voted that way. I think it's important you understand, we are not determining what happens here. There's a progress that does happen in cities. It's been happening for 25 years. So these last 3 years, there really hasn't been anything compared to what it was like before. But the fact of the matter is, when you have an interstate running through the middle of your city, a major interstate, and you have 15 minutes from airport and UPS, and we've been trying to explain that piece, we are not trying to hurt anybody. I know how I would feel. I'd feel just like you do. But if it's going to be meeting the requirements of the legal process, then there should be some collaboration. So with that said, I'm going to tell you all, thank you for being here. And second of all, let's be respectful and professional to everybody. So with that said, we'll let Roebling actually make their presentation, and then we'll allow each of you to get up and speak. We've got everybody here, and if I don't have your name, you're more than welcome to raise your hand, and we'll let you all come up here and speak. I promise you, you'll get your 3 minutes, and we'd love to hear from as many people we want to hear from. So with that said, thank you for being here, and I appreciate you listening to me. Mr. Boss?
We got old business, or we got something else on the agenda before that,
What do we have?
the billboard.
Oh, yep. Do you want to go ahead and do that then first, and then we'll get started with you guys? John?
Okay, so council, I know last meeting, I asked you guys to go home, think about what you all wanted to do with respect to billboards. Have you guys given any thought and a direction of where you'd like to see that go, and maybe what Jennifer and I can work on?
I'm currently working on something with that, so, a young man's gonna go with me. We bought a test kit, and we're gonna go around and test these lights to see if they're within the state perimeters, because the state does have some set. One of the signs that's by my office, I did count, they can't change.
So many seconds.
It's 8 seconds. It is at 8 seconds. So Theo got a light meter, and we're gonna go around and test these at night to see if they're within the range, just to make sure that everybody's doing what the state says that they have to do. They've got some pretty good rules on there. I looked all it up.
Yeah, I talked about it the last meeting,
Yeah.
yeah.
So I would put something, I mean, again, the biggest thing is go get that information, get it to her, so then you guys can decide. I know we have a very
So-
sensitive topic, but the signs in the city, we don't want them cluttering the city, and we don't want them in any places they shouldn't be. So
And
that's-
then the focus right now, I think, is gonna be on what we call third-party or off-premises billboards. So it's the kind that you see it might be on someone's property, but it's advertising all different kinds of businesses. The traditional billboards that you see driving down the interstate, that's what we're talking about. So are you wanting to just maybe think about regulating them more? Have you thought about where you wanna see them in the city? Where you wanna limit them? If you wanna maybe just do a blanket prohibition? What have you guys thought on that?
How many do we have right now? I'm sorry.
Three.
Three.
Yeah,
Three?
I believe 3.
yes. 61, right across
You got
from
one,
like the,
44 and a
near
half,
the,
Near the
post office,
Yeah.
right here by L&N Credit
One
Union,
right up here,
and then behind Taco Bell.
and one by Salsaritas.
Yep.
That's the one that
That's-
she's talking about.
L&N Credit Union.
Well, Bonnie said there was one across the street
There's-
from her.
There's
But
one,
is it a billboard or is it a LED sign for a business?
LED sign for a business.
Okay,
Oh,
yeah,
that's
that's not
different.
what we're
Yeah, that's not the same.
We're looking
Okay.
at the
Alright.
billboards.
Well, that's fine, but what I'm asking though is, do we want to, are you all wanting to maybe just contain where they're located? Or do you guys think you might wanna do just a blanket prohibition and not allow any more in the city? Which
I
way?
think we need to look at how many are in the city, because you get too many, it's too distracting.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, we have
And,
Okay.
and the one up by the post office is fairly bright,
That's Carlisle's. Right.
because when I leave Nikki's house, I mean, sometimes it will blind you.
So those would all have to fit within, but I guess my question is, are you
Those would-
okay with seeing any new ones pop up? And if so, where? Cause that'll give me an idea of where to start.
So 245 and
That's-
exit 116 don't have any.
That's not us. I mean,
Exit
245 is not
245.
us.
245 and
The top-
61 is
The
us.
top one,
Yeah.
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 So would you be okay seeing a sign there?
I don't want it next to residential.
Well,
We're making-
The only problem I have
mean-
with that is Helen Heights is there.
So
And so
I-
that's a residential, so I mean,
Yes.
I would rather not see it
I'm in
right
that one.
outside of Helen Heights.
There's
I'm
two
in that exit
subdivisions
116.
gonna be
So
there.
here's what I just need to know. I need to know, do you all just wanna put in parameters and say, okay, here's where signs can or can't be? Or do you all just wanna say, no more of these third-party billboards in the city limits?
I said
I
that
would want that.
this is what I was this is what I was thinking, that they should be 2,000 square feet apart. They should not be too close together.
Right.
They can't be within 1,000 feet of a residential property. I don't wanna see any on Joby Hall or on Buckman between Salt River and 44.
Right, that would mess up
I
the
mean,
whole
we're doing
town
too much
square.
work there, I don't wanna see it cluttered.
Yeah.
So can we do this?
So are you guys more okay with something like that? I mean, I guess what I'm asking is, does anyone just wanna outright prohibit them? If not, it sounds like we're gonna go more Jennifer's direction. She and I can work on that, tweak it. I can send something to you guys to review. We can talk about it when that's all ready at the meeting. We can then tweak it some more.
That's
Is that
good.
more of the direction everybody's
Okay.
thinking?
And if anybody thinks of anything, we can.
Absolutely,
email
yeah,
right.
us.
So why don't we
absolutely. You
have
guys can
Jennifer-
email me and Jennifer. So yeah,
Okay.
email me and Jennifer on whatever you guys think about, and
Would you do me a favor? Would you email that to everybody?
Yeah.
Just
Oh,
email
yeah.
that and then get that conversation started.
Okay.
Okay, all right. I appreciate that.
so Jennifer and I will work on that. And if anybody thinks of anything, they can just email the two of us, not everybody. That way we're
Yeah.
not making necessary decisions. And then when that's ready to be presented,
We'll
I'll
just,
email it out and then we can talk about it at that meeting.
yeah.
Okay,
Sound good?
thank you all. That's what I needed to
I
know.
appreciate it.
Okay, thank
Catherine.
you.
All right. John, if you guys will, if you'll push that button on top, that, are these on? These are not on.
I gotta wait.
Not, did you? We're trying to we wanna make sure we put this one this way so you guys could see it, and then they're gonna have the one here for the council, so we wanna make sure that everybody can see that, to see what they're actually presenting. So we wanna make sure that they're both set up. We did it earlier today, and it looked like it was gonna work, so keep our fingers crossed. We want everybody to see this.
One.
Is that the, oh, that one's on? Is it the same remote?
Yeah.
Didn't know that. Technology, there she goes.
Need a clapper.
Yeah, we need a clapper or something, like it. Something 21st century. Did it not, okay.
There we go.
There we go. Is it on both sides? Is it, we got, can you see it? Okay.
Slide it. Yeah.
All right, gentlemen, if you guys want to, if you want to introduce yourself, I know some of these folks know you, but if you wouldn't mind, just introduce yourself again, John, to the
Yeah.
check.
Thank you, Mayor Cabero and members of the Shepherdsville City Council. My name is John Baker, and members of the audience, thank you for coming this evening. I'm with the law firm of now Bricker, Graydon, and Wyatt, formerly Wyatt Tarrant Combs. We had a recent merger. I'm here on behalf of Roebling Development, and with me with Roebling is the president, Adam Hemmer, as well as the director of development, Tim Teepee. And Tim's going to be with me this evening, walking you through the development presentation that we provided to the Planning Commission, with a little added on the end just to show the conditions that the Planning Commission placed upon our application, should this city council be inclined to approve it. And also with us is Ted Bernstein from LD&D. Ted drafted the plan, so if there's any questions related to the plan, please ask Mr. Bernstein for those details. Again, really appreciate your time to be on the agenda this evening to present this development to you. There's been a lot of thought and work put into this, and it's very deliberate based on feedback that we received. Tim has advanced the slide to show, if you can see the blue is the outline of the property that's subject to the zoning application. There are 5 parcels of property ranging from less than an acre to over 25 acres. Cumulatively, we're looking at just over 55 acres of property. And Roebling is a Northern Kentucky company, and they've worked in many markets, and their sweet spot is small to mid-sized buildings with multiple tenants in each building. And you'll see some of that tonight, but I want to hit a couple things that you should look for this evening while Tim is walking you through the site. And as Mayor Cubero did touch on, this was also a product of engagement. We were here in this very room in October of 2025 and presented a concept plan to a pretty well-packed house. And that was a concept plan put together based on their experience of how they thought buildings would lie on the property, drainage and whatnot, and listened to input, and took that input and changed their plan based on that input. And we returned in January of 2026 to show what those changes in the plan were, and also inform that we were moving forward with the zoning process. It was really good engagement. Really appreciate everyone coming up and participating in that, because it really informed our development plan. And moving forward, looking at the comprehensive plan, Plan 2045, Bullitt County's comprehensive plan, which was adopted last year and was really well received. And I think other than one absence, it was by the fiscal court, and all the members with zoning authority voted unanimously. And so we looked very hard at this comprehensive plan, and this is the future land use map right here. And in yellow is approximation of where this property is. You saw the outline in the previous slide. And then that yellow strip just indicates access to Charles Hamilton Way. One thing that we did, we went through the comprehensive plan with the development team, and things that you'll look at, because this comprehensive plan essentially is the strategic way to guide growth in Bullitt County. And because they were looking at larger scale buildings, we really took into account the screening with berming and trees, and also buffering distance from the property line. The requirement out of the zoning regulations for industrial to residential is 50 feet. And you'll see a number of these property line, the buildings relate much farther than 50 feet. There's quality building design. We're operating under a small industrial campus approach. This is not a linear strip development, which is disfavored in your comp plan. These smaller, connected, shared access, cross access between sites is really how they developed this site in conjunction with the information they got from the comprehensive plan. It's also kind of more of an infill, not a sprawl development, so utilities are available to this site. And one thing they paid very close attention to is stormwater drainage. That was a very popular topic that was at both neighborhood meetings as well as our Planning Commission public hearing. And also was memorialized in a commitment to detain 1.5 times the requirement on the site here. Was a binding element that was memorialized, or a condition that was approved with the rezoning. Also, this site is off Charles Hamilton Way. It's not up on, as you see some of the bigger buildings that are up on corridors. This is away from the corridor. And using one access point. There's another point in the comp plan that talks about minimizing access points to your property. And we'll be using one point of access with an emergency access point that will be gated, that's available for emergency. So with these type of items that I want you to look for in this presentation, Tim, please walk the council and the members that are participating tonight here in attendance through the development.
Yeah, thanks, John. First off, I appreciate the time tonight. Thank you guys very much. Couple details. I won't bore you with our background, Roebling Development, but I think a couple relevant details. So as John mentioned, small to mid-sized industrial buildings. So that's what we do. So this development falls right in line with that. And a couple of key details. Our bread and butter is going to be rear load buildings. So what that means is one side of the building is going to have your docks. The other side of the building is going to have your vehicle parking and your office frontage. Across 65, a lot of what you see there is going to be cross-dock or cross-loaded buildings. So you have docks running the length of both sides of that building. Reason that's important is, generally speaking, the crossdock, that tends to have a lot more truck traffic that it generates. You have a lot of inbound trucks, outbound trucks on the other side, and that's how those kind of function. With the rear load buildings, that's where you generally see more of the manufacturing uses, value add, so assembly, kitting type of operations, last mile deliveries. So again, generally with those types of tenants that we tend to draw towards our buildings, that's where you see a little bit more of the reduced traffic on the trailers. You generally see additional employees and higher employee counts on those as well. So as John mentioned, a couple of neighborhood meetings, and I appreciate the community coming out and voicing opinions, concerns, and giving us the opportunity to incorporate that into our plans. Interest of time, a lot of these points will hit throughout the presentation here, but just to hit some of the key points there, traffic, obviously the flooding, it's come up multiple times, setbacks, flipping the buildings was one of the points that was brought up. In an effort to reduce noise and increase the location of the trailers and trucks to residential Stephen Drive there. So this is a summary slide there of some of those points that were brought up. The way I want to do this is kind of step through each of the buildings, north to south, and kind of hit some of the criteria for each one of those buildings. But before we step into that, John also mentioned single access point, Charles Hamilton. KYTC, we're very accustomed to working with them. So we'll be incorporating any sort of traffic conditions or controls that are needed to support the development in the surrounding area. It has been mentioned, typical jurisdictions, fire departments, emergency access. So number 3 up there would likely lockbox or a gate, something like that, but if we're required to have that secondary access, that's what that would be, and it would be limited. So again, primary access, number 1 up there, Charles Hamilton. Lighting, again, we'll hit this one, but in our developments, we tend to generally get away with a lot of the street lights or parking lights. With the light poles, we typically have lighting on the building, so 2/3, 3/4 of the way up the building there. And as you can see, just a rough example of those lighting housings and how they project that light down. Trying to minimize, anything being projected off-site.
Now, those lights are, I want to make sure, you didn't mention that, they're not 40, they're 20.
Correct.
You
As
just
far as
mentioned,
height?
I thought, yes, I didn't know if you mentioned that or not. But
We'll hit that condition at the end, but yes, light poles, planning commission, that was one of the conditions. Maximum height on any light poles, if we have them off-site or out in the parking area, those would be a maximum height of 20 feet. All right, so the northern building, so this one is actually from the first neighborhood meeting to where we are now. This one actually had the most changes to it. So in an effort to increase the setbacks, so as John mentioned, 50 foot is the requirement. We rotated that building 90 degrees. We put the vehicle parking on the Stephen Drive side. And as you can see up at the north side of that building, 275 feet setback. The other dimension up there in yellow on the south side of the building, so it's a little bit catty corner to corner. That's where it's 140 feet, and for this building, that's the shortest distance between the building and residential. So again, almost 3 times what's required. One of the other big benefits of rotating that building was also the detention. As plenty of the pictures that were shared and shown to us, and obviously the conversation, that's where we were able to locate this detention pond. And it's roughly right close proximity to where we're seeing that flooding up around that bend and what we're hearing about. So again, just localizing that detention right where we're seeing a lot of the drainage issues, that is one of the big benefits in rotating that building and locating that detention right there. In the interest of time, with some of these significant setbacks, a lot of that tree line is going to be about within that 50-foot setback of the property lines there. So we're gonna try and maintain as much of that, those mature trees and natural tree line that's existing. And, that's gonna be consistent all the way down the development here, is maintaining as many of those trees as we can. I think it was mentioned a couple times, but that detention, obviously I hit that location of it, but Ted will get into it a little bit if we have any questions, but 1.5 times what's required. So obviously, on a development, you need to control any additional runoff that is created from the development. But in our case, we've agreed to 1.5 times. So in an effort to help with some of the drainage in the surrounding area, that's where on-site we'll be able to house, 1.5 times the flood water there. So these are always tough, but it does give you a little bit of a perspective here. So topo is incorporated into this rendering here, but an elevation rendering. So this is, and it's a little bit faded on the TV here, but so this is a viewpoint from the Stephen Drive there. So this is kind of what you'd be looking at. Again, all you see are the trees we added, so it doesn't include the existing tree line that's already there. But just a quick visual on what that would look like. Middle building, so this is, obviously some of the conversations here, this was a building that our interest in what we really tried to focus on was maximizing that setback. Just with the proximity of the property lines there, this was the best opportunity for us to really increase that. And as you can see, north side of the building, 210 feet from the residential property lines there. So, as we mentioned before, 4 times, a little over 4 times what's required. South side of that building, over 300, so 6 times what's required. And as I mentioned, that was really our focus with this building. In an effort to even increase the setback on pavement or parking area, that's where number one is we actually reduce some of that trailer parking. I'd say one of the most important details on this particular building, and I'll skip to the next slide, I think it shows it a little better, but if you're looking at the building here, so you have our building elevation at grade, and then you have the property in between, Stephen Drive off there to the east, off to the right side of the screen. So this is actually where we're putting this building. There's an existing hill. And we're cutting into that and kind of moving that out of the way. But there's going to be a remaining hillside, highest point kind of center of that building right there. And so where that's located, the actual at grade of the building, that hillside is going to be 15 feet above where that building, the base of that building. And so we saw that as a great opportunity to help with lighting, noise. It tapers down from there, but one of the other conditions I'll get to here in a minute is the berm that's going to run north and south on Stephen Drive there, between the development and the residential. But giving you a little bit of a visual there. So this is basically center of the building, at its highest point, right about 15 feet. As I mentioned, kind of tapers down, but you can see, again, this doesn't include the existing trees and screening that's already there, but we just have our added trees, and you can start to see, get a feel for what that screening looks like and how hidden some of those dock doors are and the trailers back there. So again, this is just looking north in the truck court there, so behind the building. Again, Stephen Drive is going to be off there to the right, so just to give you an idea of what that looks like, and hopefully does a better job of explaining it than I'm doing, but again, you can see where that hillside comes up about 15 feet from the base of the building. So the southern building, this was another building, so the northernmost building, southernmost building, flipping this building to where we had vehicle parking, the office facing Stephen Drive. In this one, since we didn't have that big hillside, helping with the noise and any lighting of the trucks back there. So this was one of the buildings that we were able to flip. based on some of those comments. So off to the right there, 130 feet setback, so just under about 3 times the required setback. And then a little bit catty corner, but on the south side of the building, 170 feet on that setback from the property line. Safety was a concern on our first pass at this. Originally where 2 was, we had some trailer parking down there as well. And that was something that we substituted out. We put the trailer parking behind the building and put the, excess vehicle parking down on the south side. I hit this, I mentioned Ted will help me explain this a little better. But the detention, again, between the 2 detention ponds, 1.5 times compensation on what those are capable of holding. Couple of renderings here, so Stephen Drive view, off on the left side of the screen here, and then from the back side of the building, kind of that southwest side, that's going to be angled facing the truck court of the building there. So as John mentioned, obviously we met here a couple times for neighborhood meetings. A couple of weeks ago, we had the planning commission meeting, and just running through some of those conditions, right? So we modified some things over the course of the weeks leading up to this, up to the planning commission meeting, and then these are the conditions that we agreed to incorporate into our plan as a result of that meeting. So the existing storm repairs. So it's been mentioned, the flooding that's already occurring. So under Stephen Drive, some culverts, some piping that's whether it's damaged or clogged up. But that's something that we'll take that and we'll clean those up and help with the existing flooding in some of the storm drainage system that's already there. That's an easy one for us to jump on and really start, day one, try and, improve the current situation. Lighting, I mentioned this, we'll try and stick to lighting on the building, but any light poles out in the parking area, we've agreed to keep those under 20 feet. Development plans. So track B, so as far as our plan, obviously it's all running north and south on the east side of the property here. This area up towards the front, Charles Hamilton, I know some of that is along that path there. You're looking for commercial retail type of uses. This is something that we'll come back to planning commission if we want to do anything. Right now, this parcel is serving as our primary access to the development.
And one thing I think we did omit, with those 3 buildings, and we're talking the smaller to mid-sized space, I mean, on the other side of 65, you have buildings between 500 and 1 million square feet upwards. These are 3 buildings on 55 acres. Cumulatively, between the 3 buildings, you're looking at 575,000 square feet between the 3 buildings. So you're looking 160 to 200-ish in footprints.
Okay, couple points here. The stormwater, we hit this, so I don't want to. Obviously, it's important, but what we had agreed upon as far as the development, 1.5 times. That's what's shown. So if there are any tweaks on the design, and as we get into due diligence, geotech, if anything shifts, we're committed to 1.5 times. So that won't change. So that's basically what those last couple of points are, 4 and 5. Screening berm. So that's where middle of the building. I mentioned the existing hillside and how we're orienting the building there. But as that tapers down, we're going to maintain, so we'll build in a 6-foot berm. So measured from the grade on the property side, we'll build out that 6-foot berm to run the length of Stephen Drive there. And then the last point here, obviously a handful of conditions that we committed to, and the last step there, provided everything works its way through, we'll circle back with planning commission and they'll be signing off on final plans.
I want to make sure that one of the things that we discussed, I didn't see it on there, but I know we talked about the sidewalks.
Yeah, sidewalks,
just-
when, I know
Yeah.
City of Shepherdsville have, but Bullock County adopted industrial landscaping regulations that include the requirement for the developer or the property owner to put in sidewalks.
Yeah, and I wanted to bring it up for them to know that as well, because our connectivity, we want to be able to walk safely from 61 to the end of the city of Valley View. And that means that all of our partners, we see Amazon already doing that. We're asking everybody, we want to commit to that. I know this council has talked about the years in the past, they got waivers on that, and they really shouldn't have. That means that we would have had more connectivity so people could safely walk on Cedar Grove. So we're working that piece now, but I do appreciate that part because it is part of what's required, but again, it's part of making that connectivity on that part of the road.
That's right, we're committed to that.
Yep, and so what I want to do is, since this is the presentation, I want to start with the folks here, and what we'd like to do is if you guys, we'll bring you back, but if you'll write down any questions. If you guys want to now, I was just gonna let them go ahead and speak, but you can ask council, if you want to ask now, I was gonna let them, well, if you want to, go ahead, Faith. Yeah.
So has there been a traffic impact study in this area at all? Do you know?
If there has been, it's probably been on 61, and I don't, if KYTC's got data, they'll have to use and work with that data on trips with the applicant, and since that's their road, they're gonna have to do whatever they tell them to do.
What about the hydrographic study? Y'all basically probably done that, correct? With all the retention ponds and stuff. Water study, basically.
Yeah, we haven't done full engineering plans yet, obviously. If you don't have a project, you're not gonna invest a ton of money into having engineers do a full set of drawings for a project that potentially might not happen. But we have looked at it in our office, several of our engineers have looked at it. We've looked at the points, the detention bonds are placed in areas that are low already. And obviously with site grading and drainage, we can play with those elevations a little bit, but they are in good spots to detain the water. And as it was said earlier, currently on the plan you're looking at, we're actually at about 1.6 detention, meaning we're a little over the 1.5 that we were committed to doing. And that certainly will help detain any off-site drainage that comes through the site, which is, we're well aware of Stephen Drive. As it comes through, we need to be able to detain that water, especially up in that corner, which was one of the reasons they placed that detention pond where it's located, close to that. So we can get it, hold it, and then release it slowly, which is what a detention basin does. So, does that answer your question? I want to be sure I'm.
So do you know if there's ever been a traffic study for there?
So they have, so with all of that side, I'm sure there's probably some. The traffic is out of the one area, and because of the due nature of those buildings, that they don't have the same impact as like you would see on the other side with the bigger
You know,
warehouse.
one comes and Allo comes.
Well, again, yeah, we could, I can check to see what KYTC has. I'll check with Arthur tomorrow. You'll see significantly not the same impact, but again, we'll look at it. I'll make sure. Absolutely. Well, again, this is our public hearing. Our next meeting will be our first reading, so I'll have information here, and I'll just.
Can I make one more point before I
Yes.
sit down?
Yeah.
We also agreed to 1.5 times floodplain compensation. I'm sure you've heard that a million times, and it seems like a lot of times I've been here, developers have committed to 1-to-1, meaning if I take a scoop of dirt out of the floodplain or put a scoop of dirt into the floodplain, I'm taking one out somewhere else.
Right.
So they've committed to 1.5-to-1, which is what we typically see up in Louisville and Jefferson County. But what that actually does is, in the event there is a flood, we are now creating a bigger basin for that flood water to sit, rather than sitting on Stephen or on an area next to us. We will actually have to create a bigger space for that flood water to live at if there's terrible flooding. I mean, that would be in, 100-year flood, some type of storm like that.
We'll probably have about 80 years. I got one more question.
Yes, ma'am.
Were you all required to put a turning lane in, so when a semi goes to turn?
No, we have not addressed the traffic impacts at that point. Certainly KYTC, if that's what they believe. needs to happen, then we would have to abide by what they say.
Cause I know they've been requiring it on a lot of
Right.
places, paintball.
So what's gonna happen is, once they get this approved, when they go for permits, that becomes when the KYTC tells them
They
what they're
will
gonna.
review all of our construction drawings, and if there is any kind of issue at all with traffic, they will let us know, and we will have to address that.
I have a question.
Yeah, please.
And
Hang on, Mike, you got that, bro?
so I'm glad you separated flooding and drainage, because we have a drainage problem
Right.
every time it rains, but we do have a flooding problem. It's getting to the point where it's like every year. We had 2 floods at the beginning of this current year. And that's important too, because if you look at the thresholds at Salt River, NOAA.gov, Shepherdville Salt River, it's supposed to come on Buckman at 40 feet.
Right.
And that was, it still says that, but we flooded at what, 35, 36
Well, that's
just
what-
last year?
Right.
Water on Buckman.
Right, and we, you know, certainly if the flood water's coming into the site and there's nowhere for that flood water to go. So it's not just creating a detention basin or creating a hole for floodplain. It's creating a system to move that water from one spot to another more efficiently than it does now. And so we have to look at all that, the upstream systems, the downstream systems, and improve that. I obviously have no control over the Salt River. I mean, there's
No,
only
none of
one
us-
person.
none of us do,
There's only
but,
one person that controls
Rob, that's
that, and
on
it's not
480.
me.
That wouldn't be directly that piece.
But I certainly
That's not
believe
going to
that
affect-
we can construct a system to help the area and make that flooding alleviate much quicker. Absolutely. And the one thing I think that's important to realize is, when you have a development of this size and of this many acres, you have an opportunity to create an entire system that really can help. Whereas if the parcels were sold individually and developed individually, there's no way to make each one of those smaller parcels put enough dollars into it to really create a system that is comprehensive, right? So when you have a development like this, it's a bigger development, you actually have an opportunity to create a system. And that's a very comprehensive thing, and it allows enough land and enough dollars spent to actually solve problems.
Mike, you had a question?
Yeah, do you have an estimate, any idea of how much water the retention and detention ponds will hold?
Roughly. So we're looking at, we have about, as it exists now, and
Okay.
realize this is a preliminary development plan, right? Until we get to full engineering construction plans. But currently, we're showing 519,000 cubic feet of storage.
519,000 cubic feet.
Cubic feet of storage. And that's what's represented on the plans that you see today.
Okay. And the height of your buildings?
I know for industrial, I believe the height limitation is 40 feet. It certainly will not be surpassing 40 feet in height from grade.
Okay. That's all I had there.
Thank you, Mike. Bonnie, Brad? No, okay. All right, Ms. Jennifer, would you like anything, you wanna wait?
I'll wait.
Okay, no worries.
I'll let everybody.
No,
get theirs in.
no, that's fine, we wanna make sure everybody gets a chance to speak. Gentlemen, if you'll just have a seat, what we'll do, if you just take some, maybe some jot down some, I know there'll be some questions that you guys will have to answer. All right,
you.
we have the list, and I appreciate everybody being patient, but I believe Sharon Saylor, you were first up here. If you will, just state your name and your address, and it's 3 minutes for everybody, please. I'm gonna start in,
My name is Sharon Saylor. I live at 474 Cedar Grove. I think the big thing we're missing here is the flood issue. This whole entire development will be located in special high-risk flood zone AE, and it's all of the development that they're proposing. Everything west of 65, including Cedar Grove, 480C, Salt River, even the Bullitt County Detention Center is in flood zone AE, which is high risk. So if you drive from 65 down Charles Hamilton to the jail, it's a natural drop in grade. So you're talking about the potential of flooding the jail if this goes through, the residents in Salt River. Once that water crosses the road at where Charles Hamilton and 480C meet, everybody on that west side is stuck in their house. Are you prepared to evacuate people? They're talking a lot of people in that area, should we get a flood the magnitude of the 97 flood. In their proposed meeting with zoning, Mr. Kubak came up with a plan of 1.5 feet they would take out in the detention ponds, and they would only build up a foot. Where did those calculations come from? I spoke with Jody Eiler in Department of Water, Todd Giles' office in the EPA, and Sean Hokinson in the Flood Permit Department. They've received a lot of calls from people in this area, and they say they will be watching this project. Mr. Hokinson indicated that depending on paperwork that was filled out, the FEMA could actually require a certificate of rise in this area, which would create letters of map revision, engineering studies, and it would be a lengthy process. So there is no guarantee when they knock down Mr. Mooney's hill that they're not gonna go up more than a foot. I don't think Shepherdsville's ever undertaken a project like that where we knock down a major hill. So, you know, this is a high-risk flood area. Floods can hit at any time. They can occur at night. At nighttime, they're particularly pose a threat to loss of human life and devastation of property. We don't have any guarantees that those figures are accurate. Roebling has indicated that they have not done any type of flood mitigation study due to cost. What's the cost of human life? So I think that is something that definitely needs to be looked at and should be looked at before any development is approved. You know, there's cost to everything. You can see on all these flood maps, their property is gonna be developed in floodplain zone AE, high risk. So,
Thank you.
I'm finished?
Yes, ma'am.
All right.
Thank you. All right, next up is Gaynell Rummage. Yeah, let's go ahead and get that passed out. No, thank you, Ms. Shannon.
Sorry.
They won't.
My name is Gaynell Rummage, and I live at 561 Stevens Drive. And I want to thank you all for the opportunity to speak. My concern is the incompatibility of what is going to be put in the warehouses up against a residential area. Compatibility uses in residential areas usually include low scale, low intensity, and quiet developments that complement existing homes without excessive noise, traffic, or pollution. Common compatible uses are homes, parks, small-scale retail, not warehouses. And this is by the master land use plan for the city of Shepherdsville, the comprehensive plan. The other thing is infrastructure. We have at least one day a week, sometimes 2 to 3 days a week, a gridlock on Cedar Grove, I-65, Preston Highway 44. We only have 2-lane roads. The infrastructure needs to be fixed, I believe, before we do any more building, because we cannot carry more traffic. You know, if we have a heart attack, we would have to be stat blighted out. And, you know, I'm not against building, I'm against what could happen to human life, is what I'm against. Our property values are going to plummet. nobody, even some people sitting up there have said, I wouldn't want to look out my back door and see warehouses or semi-trailers. And we feel the same way. I think I speak for everyone here. I also done a poll on Facebook. Within 2 hours, just a simple question, are you in favor or are you not of new warehouses? At 7:49 that night, not even 2 hours, 829 people voted no new warehouses. 35 voted yes. And I just want you all to know, the council, how the people feel. You should be a voice for the people, not for high-tech dollars. And the warehouse doesn't only affect people in Capps Park and Cedar Grove Road, it affects the whole city. Because when we get shut down, everybody else is shut down. When the interstate gets gridlocked, we can't even get out to go to the grocery. I made 3 attempts 1 hour apart to get out on Cedar Grove Road and never got out. I'd have to turn around in Barnyard parking lot and go back home.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I appreciate it. Thank you, Janelle.
You're
All right,
welcome.
next one is Bobby Miller.
Hey, before you put me on the timer, I apologize for interrupting you.
No, I appreciate
But
it.
my opinion of Boulder County planning and zoning is a complete waste.
I do think there's opportunity there, sir.
Okay.
I will tell you that. All right.
All right, I'm Bobby Miller. I live at 280 Stevens Drive, Shepherdsville, Kentucky. Personally, well, all the neighbors back there are against this. There's 40 homes back there. There's some homes back there that the building's gonna be within 75 foot of their property line. Now, my understanding is they're gonna take the hill out and build that land up 4 foot. Am I wrong? Because it's in a floodplain, so you gotta get it out of floodplain before you can build. So you're gonna raise that whole area down there 4 foot above where it's at right now.
I don't know what the exact number is.
Nobody has a number on that? So you can't build in the floodplain. So you gotta raise it up out of floodplain. Now, somebody said I thought I heard one of y'all saying you're gonna raise it up 4 foot.
I don't know what the number is. It's
So-
probably different in
You're not
different
gonna
areas. Yeah,
What's that?
it's probably different in different areas.
That's what I was gonna say.
Different areas. That's level up to the hill. That land is level up to the hill.
But I mean, it's not gonna be totally level when it's up there.
Well, anyway, so they're gonna build this land up 4 foot, okay? So what's that gonna do to the people that live in the neighborhood? Now, they can tell me that, you know, it's a law, it's a state law that for every yard, 1 inch of land that they move, they have to, if they take it out, if they take the dirt out, they gotta add dirt, they gotta take 1.5 times that out someplace else. So I don't know if the retention ponds is 1.5 times what they're gonna build in. But anyway, I personally don't want to walk out my door and look at a warehouse. I don't think any of the residents back there are. I feel like, city council is voted in to represent the people. There's not another location in Shepherdsville where y'all have let warehouses come right in to a neighborhood. And I invite any of you to come over. The main thing I ask is each and every one of you come over and look at it. Don't do like planning and zoning and don't even drive over and vote on it and don't even know where it's located. So I challenge each and every one of y'all to come to the house. I'll walk you down the street and show you exactly what the plans are. And I just pray that y'all don't vote on it without looking into it. Because there ain't a one of you sitting up there would want this in your neighborhood. Thank you.
Thank you, Bobby, I appreciate it.
Thank you, Bobby.
All right, Miss Brenda Davis, did I get that right? Okay.
My name's Brenda Davis. I live at 183 Miller's Lane. And I'm saying no, please don't build nothing else there. We got enough traffic from Amazon. I go every single day, go out the time they get out. I can barely get from here to my house to the expressway. It's all backed up. And part of it also is the school. I mean, I know parents pick up their kids and all that, but they changed their route. The school used to go behind the school or the way to the back and turn around to the sidewalk. Now they're going straight to the sidewalk, which backs up the road. They changed their route. If that's changed, that would help a little bit in the traffic. But also, the warehouse that they're gonna build, that's gonna cause more traffic. We got enough going down Cedar Grove Road. I mean, I used to go to an auction on Thursdays. I would have to leave now a half an hour early due to the school change and the warehouse from Amazon getting out. I walked around the subdivision and got 150 signatures saying no to this new warehouse. I don't know what happened. I gave it to Peggy. She was supposed to turn it into somebody. Is that who it was? Well, like I said, I did. I got 150 signatures from people in my neighborhood and down Cedar Grove Road. I put over $1,000 worth of repairs because I kept stop, go on my truck just to get this to stop. We don't need no more traffic. We've had, it's enough down Cedar Grove Road. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Miss Brenda. Katrina, and what's that last name? Is that Edinburgh? Well, Cheater's on. Enberg, is that right?
Yeah, I'm gonna let him speak when he gets to it.
Okay.
Letting him speak, letting somebody else speak.
Let somebody else speak? Okay, no worries. We'll just, Mark and, Mark Stout. Mark, could you just tell your name and your address for me? That'd be great.
Yes, sir.
You want to pull all that together?
Please, if you don't mind.
No, it's fine. Can you? You kind of look like you know what you're doing there. We'll let you get started until you start blowing things up.
I can fool people sometimes.
All right, all right. Let's see what you got here. See if it'll come up there.
Can you state your address?
Yes, ma'am. Hold on. 440 Hamilton Place, Taylorsville, Kentucky. Yeah. Come on. Excuse me.
Can you see it on both sides? It's on.
We're getting there, it looks like.
Yep. All right.
Okay. All right. I didn't do that. Sorry about that.
Get some sports.
Okay.
All right.
All right. My name's Mark Stout. I am a partner of the M&R Investment, just so you know up front. Full disclosure there. But I also been on the Economic Development Board in Boulder County for 25 years. I just retired recently. So I have some experience in seeing what these things have done and how these projects have gone. And I hope you listen to what I say and not look at me for who I am being a property owner here, because I think that's the most important part. Look at 3 items that you face. There are decisions, there are taxes, and there are changes. Those 3 items are important in what you're doing. You know, when you think about your decision, there'll be improvements to the area, there'll be more employees, there'll be more occupational tax, which we'll touch on in just a minute. And decisions making is huge. The decisions you make and the impact they have on not only your city, but on the regions make a difference. And I'll give you an example here. 2 years back, exit 114 got put in. As the mayor mentioned earlier, for UPS Drive, a lot of the activity goes on in Boulder County. And so that exit was put in. And if this will play right,
Today, I'm pleased to join you.
daggone it.
Today, I'm pleased to join you as we open the new I-65 interchange.
Fashion. From the planning starts in 2014 and the initial design phases in 2015 and 16, and then ultimately the right-of-way acquisition and utility relocation. We got this thing ready to go quickly in 2018, and here we are in 2020 with this interchange ready to be opened up. So the partnership we had with the Federal Highway Administration and the Bullitt County governments, as well as the city of Shepherdsville, to help us out with the Alpha Way in connection over to Kentucky 61. I'm incredibly pleased and happy and excited to have this interchange open up, and I think the residents will enjoy it for decades to come.
On behalf of the Bullitt County Economic Development Authority, we're thrilled to celebrate the opening of Exit 114. Though we had to do it virtually, the benefits are truly concrete. When this project began over 6 years ago, we faced the potential loss of some 8,000 jobs, which meant $10.5 million annually to the state in revenue and $3.5 million annually to the city of Shepherdsville. With the opening of the interchange, we have the potential for another 6,000 jobs and $8.5 million in annual revenue to the state, $2.5 million to the city of Shepherdsville. It's the culmination of a bipartisan effort at the federal, state, and local level. And to all those involved, thank you.
As you see, some before you, and maybe some of you also, I'm not sure your tenure here, made those decisions for those things to happen. That was a big deal. Getting an exchange is a big deal. And along the way, you've also made decisions for these people I have on the screen, New Flyer, UPS, McKesson, Santa Rosa. All them people are employers in our community and bring people in from around the area. Why Bullitt County is unique, as we mentioned about the things of the Ford and UPS. This shot I took when I was in Scottsdale, Arizona. They got a golf course in the city. You can't have that just because of the things you talked about with the water problem. So you have to you have to play the cards that you're dealt. Your decisions will impact what the future holds in store and what it brings to the community. Tax dollars, we have to look at those. You know, your budget is close to 70% of occupational tax. That's a big amount, and that's just for you only. Those tax dollars support everything that you do, from your veterans event, your recreational activities, your services for your city residents, your veterans event, your farmer's market. All these things take money. And as well as you know, this is not including the inventory tax they pay, the insurance tax they pay, the library tax they pay, tax goes to the schools, tax goes to the fire departments. You know, the tax dollars does not just stop here. It goes around the region and around the area. And, you know, even, you see the Mount Washington Library here. Benefits from everything that you do here benefits more than just you. And so I hope that you keep that in mind as you think about this. You have a nice building here. Tax dollars paid for it. All those things, these jobs impact so much. And a lot of you sitting here have had careers in public service of some type, either in the school or fire department or something. Tax dollars supported that. That's how you were able to do that. That was your source of funding. You know, all the programs that you have now and hope to do in the future, you've got to have tax dollars to do it with. New technology is coming in. We're seeing some robotic things happening. That's going to change the number of people you have working in some of the places. You've got to keep adding new jobs to maintain what you're doing. So the area will need to continue to grow to maintain your current status. And you can't build homes fast enough to keep up, folks. The typical 1,979 square foot home in Bullitt County got a tax bill of about $3,944 in 22.
Excuse me.
And so,
okay.
What?
Okay, excuse me. Okay, another outburst and you can leave. I just asked you before. This is a presentation he made for this. That's right. That's fine. All right, okay, you want to leave? You can leave. I'll make you.
I want you to hold everybody the same
Okay,
standard.
Mark, will you finish up for me, please?
Yes, sir. You can
Okay.
see there.
You need to
takes
calm down, sir.
90 homes to match up for one business in
He
the
should have
park.
been, he should have been a different part of this agenda, that's fine. Mark, I appreciate it.
Okay, change will come. You can't get away from changes. If you're living, you're gonna have changes. In your careers, you had changes. If you have health
Thank
care,
you,
you
Mark.
have changes.
All
So,
right.
thank you for your time.
You're welcome. Next up is Carol Lee O'Keefe.
Good evening. My name is Carly O'Keefe. I live at 930 Tracy Lynn Lane, Shepherdsville, Kentucky. And I don't think I'll say anything this evening that hasn't already been at the forefront of everybody's mind. Some of them have even been mentioned. But with this proposal, as a landowner myself, I sit on several acres. Large warehouses like this have been shown in multiple counties to lower surrounding home and farmland values. They reduce buyer interest in rural properties. They increase noise, lighting, and traffic pollution. If you install a warehouse, it's common sense that it's going to add more traffic to the community. And we're already at a place where our roads are already deteriorating. People cannot get to and from work, grocery store, just common places that they need to go each and every day. But the infrastructure cost, but not only that, but you're looking at the school capacity and the community strain. Bullitt County schools are already experiencing overcrowded classrooms, strained bus routes, inadequate parking and pickup space, limited land for future school expansion, and massive warehouse development brings population shifts, increased commuter traffic during school hours, barriers to safe school transportation. And if a warehouse increases traffic around already congested areas, it slows down school buses, creates dangerous school zone conditions, and places additional strain on a school system that is already stretched thin. And in closing, I just want to say I'm not against growth. I am for responsible, transparent, community-focused growth. Growth that preserves property values, protects our schools, respects our farmland, and safeguards the environment and ensures emergency services can do their job. And if this proposal, as it stands, it threatens all of these. And I respectfully ask that you protect the rural landowners, require full impact studies, demand transparency, and ensure that development benefits Bullitt County families and not just national developers. And my main concern is that I do live on several acres of land. This will decrease our property value the closer they inch to us, and I just hope that you thoughtfully consider those, because it doesn't just affect the heart here of Shepherdsville in the county, but it does affect our schools, it affects our roads, it affects everything. And with these past floods, it's really opened my eyes to things can be a lot different, and I don't think these are put at a forefront priority. And I feel like a lot of times the community, they may be here, to speak their opinions, but I don't feel like we're fully heard on the matters that affect people that are not in leadership positions or not wealthy enough. It doesn't give us, the more wealth you have, the louder your voice is, and not all of us are that privileged to have that. But I will say that farmland is financial future for a lot of families here in Shepherdsville, and I hope that you all will consider all of those things. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Okay. Andrew, she still had a minute, so you have 4.
Oh, I don't need that long, bud.
Okay.
She just nailed all of it anyways.
Okay. You'll let us know who you are, sir, and your address?
Yeah, my name's Andrew Porter. I live at 221 Charles Hamilton Way. Most of you all have already, well, I've talked to all of you at least once. Some of you already been to my house. I was hoping they still had their little thing up so I could point it out on the screen where my house is. Nothing, y'all haven't said anything about my side. Y'all care an awful lot about Stevens Drive side, but what about me? I'm sitting up on the other side of your buildings. I will be facing one of your dock doors. I'm up on a hill. You cannot block, you're gonna plant 50-year-old trees to hide your buildings from me? What are y'all gonna do for me on my side? The only other thing I want to add, since everybody else has already pretty well hit everything, is This is from the Comprehensive Plan, Land Use and Character Objectives and Action Steps. Objective 1A, new development should not create significant negative impacts on the surrounding community and local infrastructure. I mean, come on, guys. Like, obviously, this is negative. So that goes right against your comprehensive plan that you all, well, not all of you, but that everybody seems to love so much. So, that's all I got.
All right, thank you, Andrew. Brian Blemo. Saving the best for last, Larry.
Hello, Brian Blemo, 4th District Magistrate. My address is 607 Clarks Lane, Shepherdsville, Kentucky. Can y'all hear me okay?
Move your mic a little closer.
Yeah, bring it a little closer to you.
This one?
No.
She's in the.
Okay. I'll try to lean in a little bit.
There you go.
So, but I just wanted to speak about traffic and infrastructure. Last week I spoke with Jason Richardson. He is over the permitting department of KYTC. And it wasn't about this rezoning, but it was about an issue that we've had in the county, in the unincorporated part. And I was just trying to get some ideas about planning and zoning and what we can do, you know, because the commission recommends stuff and then either the city or the county votes on it.
I got it.
But he said that the city or the county can require a traffic impact study for any development adding 100 vehicle trips to state highway in the AM or PM, but the city or county has to request it. I just kind of thought that was done automatically through planning and zoning, and y'all may have, I don't know. But anyway, I also spoke to him about some of the planning and zoning restrictions we had on some former rezonings that the fiscal court voted on. And he said that they're not being sent to the state highway department, that like the developer just tells them where they want their entrance and things like that. So I spoke with Charlie Spalding, who's the planning and zoning director. He's under fiscal court. And he he confirmed that he has not been sending them to Mr. Richardson. And Mr. Richardson did tell me that they receive stuff from Jefferson County once a week, also from Oldham and Shelby. So the planning and zoning regulations are currently being reviewed and will be voted on later this year. They're looking at probably late summer, early fall. But they must be approved through fiscal court because planning and zoning is under fiscal court. So I spoke with the other magistrates and we're currently looking at reviewing the procedures and because of some of the issues that we're having. And we're willing to address these at the next fiscal court meeting, which is March 17th at 9:30 a.m. So I just wanted to let y'all know some of the stuff you can and can't do. And so just bring it to your all's
On
attention.
something like that, I think it's a good thing. Faith brought it up, but I think what we need to do is I'll reach out tomorrow. I know Jason very well.
Okay.
I'm gonna ask him if they'll look at that. I'll get with the developers here and get kind of an idea of what they look to gear that for. Obviously, being the smaller ones, it's more manufacturing than it is the distribution that you see behind Love's and back in the industrial park. They're not the same setups and business models. But I will make sure tomorrow that I'm gonna reach out to KYTC and see what they have. If it's not current enough, then we'll get something that's current enough to make sure that we find out what we need there. But I'm just looking at what they're developing and what we've seen with that. It's not the same, but we'll get that confirmed.
Okay. I just wanted to let y'all know. in case
No,
it
I think
didn't-
it's
didn't
important.
happen to
No,
them.
Brian, I appreciate that.
Okay.
Thank you
Thank
so
you all.
much.
Jose, when you talk, did you talk to him about a turning lane too?
Well, I think a lot, it depends on what they have there. That area, where it's at, the egress and regress out of there, I don't know. It'll be what the semis, but I think once they start, there's a permitting process they gotta go through. They actually add that to that entrance. They'll determine that entrance, not in this meeting here, but it's done by the permits and the engineers. And Arthur will be responsible for us in making sure that that information is correct. So we'll find out. I do think it's important, you know, if we're talking about entering in and out of that area, especially its close proximity to the Double Diamond and all that's going on there. You know, there's gotta be some thought to how that comes in and out of that property.
Right.
Okay.
I did,
I'll
I
find
think
out.
so. And
Brian-
I personally think the road needs to be widened like it was down by school. I mean, if
Yeah,
we're gonna have that, I mean, we've got the outreach coming in and.
Yeah, but I don't think that traffic.
There's gonna be more, you know, there will be.
Yeah, I think what you'll see, when you see the development from the 65 to 61, that corridor of Cedar Grove, as it does, there's hopefully, this is the problem. It's 25 years, we've not had any real intensity on this. And since day one, since we've been here, we've been trying to, we want an exit 119, just for the traffic inside the city, so people will go right instead of coming towards 44 and Adam Shepherd. That's what we need immediately. That's not a, it's big money, but it's not money that, you know, that we need somebody to work on it. Jamie and I have talked about, 61 from Salt River all the way to 245 should be 4 lanes. They're looking to at least start a study. And any of this conversation today, it means 5 and 10 and 20 years. If you look at Preston, those 4 lanes, that's 20 years of work. That's how long some of this takes. This should have been done a long time ago, but unfortunately, this is what we're dealing with. And a lot of it's in play, 95% or more has been in this city long before we got into office. And it's important we understand where we're at with all that. We do understand the infrastructure piece, but a lot of times it's not our roads, and we don't have $250 million. The one we need is another artery out of this city. We got one place, 61. Who comes up with that? When you built this interstate, you should have bought all the easements on all sides of 44, and it'd have been 4 lanes today. So I'm just as frustrated as anybody in here, because there's no helicopter driving me around. I'm stuck in that traffic just like you guys are, and I don't like it. Okay? What we don't like is what we got to make sure. We've been talking to our state legislators. We're trying to make sure we want our governor to know. We're one of the fastest growing counties out of 120 counties. And we need a stronger voice in Frankfort to get working on that. Again, we all saw what happened on Watergate Drive. Did we not? And did you see the work they just did? Really? I mean, so it's very frustrating for everybody in this room. And the one thing that we want you all to understand, we're listening. I mean, I don't think sometimes you hear that fact that we're just trying to figure out what's the best way to move forward. Progress is coming. I use the analogy all the time. If people don't understand from Louisville to Bowling Green on the interstate, 1 mile either way, you won't recognize it in 25, 30 years. Because that fits the comprehensive plan for logistics. They want to be that close. So anything that's close to that, you want to be at least 1 mile or 2 out. You want to be that further out on that interstate. If you're close to it, unfortunately, this is why we're having the conversation today. You guys are so close. 44 homes, was it, Gaynell? 44? 44. We get all that. And so we're trying to figure a way that we make some of these things work. It's not an always easy conversation. Yes, I don't get to vote in this, but I have my opinions about this. But the fact is we need to make sure, what are we doing to continue to, because growth does matter. Growth matters to this city. The revenue piece does matter. We are trying to connect the city. We don't have any sidewalks, for God's sake. We don't have any arteries to get out. We want that artery from 480 to 44, do we not?
Mayor, we need roads.
We need roads. There's no question. $250 million, and I have to depend on people that's in Frankfort and Washington, D.C. Trust me, we've been yelling at them. I promise. You guys are frustrated in this office. You're in this room. I can tell you. I'm frustrated from my side. I can't get these people to understand the importance of what we're doing. The Bells Mill thing, I don't even want to get into that.
So is your plan to just build more infrastructure where it gets jammed up and then hope and pray that from?
No, that's not what it is. Again, I was just letting you know, we have to deal with that as well as the growth of the city. Again, there's a part that goes in play that we haven't even talked about what we're doing actually in the city to make the quality of life better for our families. But anyway, I appreciate everybody this. Now, Mr. Larry Clark, I didn't forget you. Come on up here. I don't know. Is there anybody here, before I forget, that wasn't on this list? Sam? All right, well, I'll make sure that you're after Larry. Is there anybody else that did not sign this that wants to be on this? Okay. Ma'am, I got you then. Then you'll be the third one. I'll have Larry first, then Sam, then you, okay? You're very welcome. All right, Larry, would you please tell everybody, I know they know who you are, but just give me your address anyway.
I live at 240 Stevens Drive.
Yes, sir.
And definitely, I don't want the warehouses in my front yard. And I am here to ask the city council to vote it down when it's their turn to vote for it. Because no one here, maybe 5 people wants it, and a whole neighborhood against it. And the drainage, they're gonna build that detention pond right across from me. My yard will hold more water than that. And I got pictures to prove it. So there is a drainage problem in the neighborhood, and they're gonna build a building right directly across the ditch that drains it. Makes no sense whatsoever. They think that pond's gonna hold it. No. So With that said, I would like to ask the city council, when you all get to vote on the zoning for it, to vote no. Thank you.
You're welcome, Larry. Sam, come on up here for a minute, and he's got you some extra time if you want it. I mean, I've got to.
No yelling, no yelling, no yelling.
Why are they going to yell at you, Sam?
Hi, my name's Sam Holbrook. I live at 134 Cedar Street in Shepherdsville, Kentucky. Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Council. You already heard everything pretty much. We are a river city. We are in a unique spot. We're not Louisville, we're not Oldham County, we're not Taylorsville. I'm glad to meet you. We know who started the problem now, 25 years ago. What we don't need is more flooding. We live the river coming through is right there. I mean, we can walk to it, 5 minutes. We do not need any additional buildup at this time. You said growth is good. Growth is good. We're not disagreeing with that. We know it's imminent. What we're saying is not now. We need to have structures in place before we start adding more buildings. 600,000 square foot of buildings, 3 buildings. We don't need 5 cars, 25 cars. We don't need semis. I've got pictures. Everybody here's got pictures. We got Facebook. You see the wrecks. We see, just ask the police. I mean, the traffic is terrible. You just mentioned it. We can't handle no more. When I moved here, my house was never flooded, still hasn't. My house was 2 feet above floodplain. They come back, FEMA come after all the hurricanes hit years ago, they come and reevaluated everybody. Now it's 1 foot above floodplain. Well, guess what? They're getting ready to come back out again. I can promise you that. And what goes along with all this, all right, our flood insurance goes up. It's costing me money. You talk about tax money, income coming in, but you talk about my money going out. All right, I pay school taxes. I got that. But what we're doing is we're paying flood insurance for a house that don't even flood yet. And our car insurance goes up because we live in a high traffic area where accidents are more likely than not to happen. Just going 1 mile down the road. And I'm 1 mile from the expressway, right at it. And I mean, there's wrecks all the time. And now I'm paying out of my pocket more for flood insurance, more for car insurance, just because of where I live. We can't handle any more traffic. We can't handle any, I'm not saying you can't build. I'm not trying to say that. I'm just saying not now. What we're doing is we're building over here, you're putting the squeeze in my area on 480C. You're talking about Stevens Drive area. Let's talk about the other side of the street, like the gentleman said, Charles Hamilton. On that side, the 480C, where it all comes around, we're a ditch, all right? When the water drains, it's 25, it's not a 100-year floodplain. A 100-year floodplain means what? It's gonna, more likely to flood in a 26% chance of flooding in 100 years. Well, that's not happening now. The flooding's happening more and more and more and more. It's not 100 years every flooding, we're flooding. It's 10 years, it's 5 years, and every year I could take pictures of it, it's getting closer and closer and closer to my house. It's affecting our neighbors, it's affecting our insurance, it's affecting, you talk about all the income coming in, but what is a house worth when it floods and FEMA's only giving you $700 for a flood? And I'm telling you that because I know people's houses that flooded in April, and that's exactly what they got is $700 today. And I'm not gonna take up any more time.
No, you got another minute if you want to speak.
I'm just saying it's a no for me, and I hope y'all vote no this time. We're tired of the buildup. We're too close to the interstate, like you said, but we have no choice. We can't, some of us can't move. We're stuck. 25 years ago, this wasn't like this. And now it's starting to creep on us. And I'm just saying, not now. There's a time and place for everything. And this is not the time, and that is not the place. Thank you.
Appreciate it, Sam. Thanks. Ma'am? And sir, did you want to speak as well? Yeah, if you will, there's a lady in the back, then I'll let you go come after her. I got you covered, okay? Come on up here, and if you will, give us your name and address. I'm gonna get...
Appreciate you letting me speak.
Absolutely, absolutely. What's your name, ma'am?
My name is Sheila Metcalf.
Sheila Metcalf. And your
I
address?
live at 128 Richards Court.
Richards Court?
I live off 44 West.
Okay.
Nobody's talked about where I live, so I'm glad that Mr. Thompson called me.
Yes, ma'am.
Me and him both are running for judge executive.
Okay.
So,
Oh, hi Sheila. I've never met you. Nice
Thank
to meet
you.
Nice to meet you.
um,
Metcalf.
44 West at the bottom of the hill coming towards Shepherdsville has probably been part of Bullitt County since it started, okay? I live in Kings Forest. When I look out my window, I see the lake. Right across that lake, Salt River, okay? Every year it floods. Who gets the flood? We do. We got it last year, sir. Okay? I live in an area that you can't build up. I guess you could if we all moved and you brought what everybody else is building and dump it on there, but where's our houses? Where are we gonna live, okay? I'm gonna talk about the people that I've talked to in Bratcher Estate, which is off 44 West. If anybody knows where Bratcher Estate is, it's behind Trinity Church. I was horrified, sir, when I started seeing these massive condos. I mean, they're putting them up so fast, it's as fast as I can go and get something out of my refrigerator and turn around and come back. That's true, go look at it. And when I went through Bratcher Estate, that's a 40-some-year-old beautiful neighborhood, or was. You go to the back of Bratcher Estate, I talked to a lot of people there, I'm not done. They were never notified that they were gonna put that in. I've got pictures of it in my car. Sir, they built the ground up 4 foot. That's up to their houses. As it goes back to the condos, it gets higher and higher. They put a big old reservoir right behind their house. Well, where's that gonna run into? Right across the street, if you come out 44 out of Bratcher Street, there's Salt River. You're not even half a mile from Salt River, okay? Every bit of that is flood zone. Shepherdsville is flood zone. The more you let build up, the deeper we get with water. But Bratcher Estate, they are fed up. One lady I talked to, when I looked, I was shocked. There was her house, there's her driveway with her 2 cars, and there was where they built the land up. And I said, well, tell me the story. She said, well, for one, they never told us about it, which I feel like it's against the law. Number 2, sir, they took probably about 4 feet of their property. Said we tried to fight it, and said the construction company told us is, we don't care. I've dealt with I don't care. Amons, my mother and father bought that house. I've been in Shepherdsville for since 1959. I'm 67. When Amons went industrial, we went up here in Shepherdsville, that little neighborhood. I'm kin to the Parsleys, I'm kin to this one, I'm kin to that one. That's how old and how long I've been in Shepherdsville. Okay? We come up here to fight it. I'll never forget it. Mr. Bleemer looked me straight in the face and said, because it wasn't supposed to go industrial, says, we don't care. It's revenue for Shepherdsville. And it destroyed that little neighborhood revenue of their homes.
Which Bleemer was this?
Huh?
Which Bleemer was this?
The only Brian, is it Brian Bleemer, whatever his name is?
He's right here. He's right there.
No, not that one.
Yeah,
Oh, I'm sorry.
I was wondering.
I'm so excited.
She's talking about him. He's right there. I'm like,
I apologize. It was Mr. Greenwell.
okay. All right.
When I'm wrong, I admit I'm wrong.
No worries. No worries.
I apologize, Mr.
No worries.
Greenwell. It was Mr. Greenwell. Thank you, sir, for
No,
pointing that out
you're-
to me.
you're very
I
welcome. No
apologize.
worries.
You should have spoke up.
I didn't want
But
you to be a
anyhow,
nice guy.
I know. But Mr. Greenwell told me, my mother.
Hang on.
And different ones. Matter of fact, he said, shut up, quit meandering
see.
around. Because I was showing photos of the little creek down the 3 houses down, it was full of oil slick. He said, I don't want to see it. He said, I don't care, it's revenue for Bullitt County. You know, sir, we need our roads fixed. We don't need no more warehouses. We don't need no more condos. We don't need anything but our road fixed. And I'm going to tell you something my Bible tells me. My Bible tells me you don't put a new piece of material on an old piece of material because that old piece of material is gonna rip. Our roads are ripped. You go down 44
We
West.
got it. We know all the roads.
Yeah.
All the roads are
There's-
state. Again, we appreciate it.
Uh-uh.
Most, again, most of the roads that you're talking about, 44 and 61 and any of that Cedar Grove Road, those are all state roads. Right.
I drive a smart car.
Thank you.
You tell me how safe that road is for my smart car. Cost me $400 and some last year.
I get
to
it.
fix
Again,
that
we're not gonna
rim.
discuss the car, we're discussing this property, and I appreciate your time, and I thank you for bringing it
Well, I
forward.
appreciate you, sir, for listening to
No
me.
worries, no worries. And then we have a gentleman back here. Nah, Larry. Come on up here, sir. All right. Can we get your full name, sir?
Donald Craig Clark. I live in
Donald?
Donald Craig Clark.
Clark. Another Clark? You're not really that guy, are you?
No.
Good.
My
We're just
name-
worried.
or my
I'm
address-
just worried. You seem like a nice guy. I didn't want you to be related to him. All right, and what's your address, sir? I'm sorry.
262 Kings Lake Drive, Shepherdsville,
Kings Lake?
Kentucky.
Okay.
I went out with Mr. Bobby Miller and gotten petitions signed. And just like that one past lady was speaking.
Yes, ma'am.
Bratcher
Yes,
Estates, they even have a drive through Bratcher Estates that connects to those condos. Everybody that we went door to door to have that petition signed, their number one question was, where was you all when this was going on? The only thing I can say, I had no idea. You know, the flooding. I've had to go and help the man move his furniture because of the flooding. And this last flood was not even as bad as 97. I've helped the fire department rescue people in john boats.
Thank you.
And the flooding thank God that it wasn't as bad as 97. As far as the road, 44 by Field Bridge is very dangerous. You know, the road is built on swampland, I understand that. Concrete don't shift like asphalt though. I don't know if I'm not an architect. But there's many, and even on the news, because this made the news, and the statement said, and when you all had your presentation up there, it said Cedar Grove Industrial Park, West or East, whatever park. The industrial park is on the other side of 65. That was stated on the news.
Hang on.
Why is there building another industrial park? And that, obviously, it was advertised right there, as we all saw, when there's an industrial park on the other side of 65, and like many people have stated, half of the buildings are empty.
Sir, that's not right. I'm just gonna say, I've heard this, I'm gonna just correct you real quick. I think you're a nice man. That's not true. There's no way that we'd have the revenue we have without raising any taxes to do everything we're doing in the city. I can tell you right now, they're 95. Okay, 95% they're full. It may not fool you when you see it, but I'm telling you, you wanna see our finances, you're more than welcome to come and get open records on our finances. You will know.
I apologize.
No, no, listen, that's okay. I just think it's been said a few times. I just couldn't let that be said.
I understand.
And I'm gonna say this out loud for everybody here. Whether they approve it or not approve this, I will tell you, these business people are not coming to places with a bunch of empty warehouses. Nobody does that. They are going into places, they see growth, they see things that, it's a business. I mean, from their perspective, whether the residents don't like it, I get it. But the business perspective is that they were coming here because they see growth. They see the business part of it. Again, there's a sensitivity to the residential. I get it. But I wanted you to know that we have a thriving economy, that we're doing the things, we're building things in this community that have never been here. All we've had is the warehouses and fast food. And then we're trying to balance that with the fact that we still have a growth pattern, but we can start building things here for the folks that are here. So, I'm sorry. You still get an extra 2
May
minutes.
I ask you a personal question?
Yes, sir.
The way it looks as of now, especially with the traffic, we have outgrown Shepherdsville with businesses and traffic.
Well, there's no doubt there's infrastructure when it comes to, but these people have to get off their butts and get us that money. Because we're still 5 or 10 years from that. And really, like I said, it's poor planning 25 years ago. Guess what? I went around 25 years ago. No, I mean, I was around because of my age, but not. But I mean, but that's the point. That's a point to be made about business. But I appreciate it. You're letting us know. I appreciate your concerns.
Thank you.
Don, thank you so much. And I'm glad you're not related to Larry. Is there anybody else that would like to speak? I really appreciate it. I know this is a very sensitive topic. We want to make sure. Does anybody else want to speak either for it or against it?
May I ask a question?
Oh, my God. All right, go ahead, Larry. All right, Larry, what you got?
On your detention pond, it's right across the road. Where's the water going from there?
Yep, answer that. Oh, and listen, have a seat now, too. So if you will, once you stay up here, Ted and John, you guys want to accumulate the things that you heard? You guys want to answer some of these things, or you want to bring your stuff back up there, whatever you want to do? This gives them an opportunity for you to hear. They listen to you again, and anything else they can bring up. Mike, so if you want to answer that question for Larry?
Yeah.
Hey, for everybody here, please, hey, Larry, very important question. I want Ted and his team to actually answer it for everybody that's listening. No, we're dropping things here.
So we've identified two existing water channels that actually lead towards Charles Hamilton Way, which ultimately will lead out to the Salt River. And the other thing to remember is, you know, that we're detaining the water and letting it go at a slower velocity. That's what a detention pond is. We're just slowing the water down and creating an area that can hold the water in order to let it go slowly.
And so, and remember, this is originally, this is just a statement. These are facts. One of the things they did with that retention pond on that side, Larry, for you specifically, because I thought about you when they came to talk to us, I knew there was a problem with that. And I think it's part of the development of that whole project, and I think all the way down through Stevens Drive, I see opportunities. But the fact of the matter is, this was done such a long time ago, for the city to incur all that, we don't have millions and millions of dollars. But we are trying to work with our business partners that do want to come and invest, for having them help us build sidewalks, work on our drainage. 65% of the city, and everybody knows this, is in a floodplain. So anything that gets built has to be built up. And again, where does that water go? And that's important to all of us. So go ahead, John, excuse me. Okay, I made sure that, again, would you like to, John, at least answer some of the questions that the audience, do you have anything that you want to add to it?
Sure, thank you, Mayor, and members of the council, and again, everyone tonight, I really appreciate your attendance coming to a windowless room when it's gorgeous outside. I really thank you for that. And I know that it's important, and these conversations are important. And a lot of this follows process. And just like we described when Roebling came together and wanted to invest in this area, we sat down and we looked at the comprehensive plan. And this area is slated for industrial development. And moving south all the way through Ohm and down to even where existing industrial has already been built, that whole corridor. And one of the tenets you see in the comprehensive plan is that type of development needs to be strategically located so it has direct access to 65. And that's one of the reasons we're here, as well as you know, the new access point that was provided through the Double Diamond. And that is infrastructure that can be added to, improved as it relates to the corridors that get to that point. And to that point, Tim and Adam's team, they have zero intent of ducking conversations with KYTC. In fact, they are fully expected to have that conversation. So any type of correspondence they need to have with the district office, they're intending to have that. And any type of roadway improvements that come out of that conversation, they're willing to do. And, you know, those sometimes, no matter what community you're in that's growing, sometimes those infrastructure pieces are done ad hoc with projects until someone comes in with a big set of money through a state or federal project to do a larger scoped project.
So John, can I just interrupt you for a second? So you're bringing up the 116 entrance ramp, which will be the primary, that's how your trucks are going to get to and from these facilities, right?
Yes, sir.
All right, so the Double Diamond crossover was not built to move trucks. You do know that, right?
Well, I think it can access the highway.
Right, but
that.
it's for traffic flow. That's not built for trucks. And that's why we resisted putting stuff on Cedar Grove Road, especially that side of Cedar Grove Road. Because the 116 is not built for semi-trucks.
Right.
It's not. That's why we put the 114 in there.
And that's what's really good about the Ohm exit is that they can take right turns to get to this site from that exit point.
Right, but you're using the 116. That's why we've tried to steer most of that industrial development to that end towards the 114. That was built for semis. Do you know the difference between the 116 and the 114 and how they're laid out?
I do.
Well, the 116, when you're exiting, you're coming downhill, right? Harder to brake.
Right.
When you're entering, you're going uphill, harder to accelerate. 114 is exactly the opposite. When you come off, you're going uphill, easier braking, Coming on, you're going downhill, easier acceleration.
Sure.
So that's why we've always tried to steer the development down that, towards that corridor. So that presents a problem that the 116 is gonna be your only way to get on and off the interstate, first and foremost.
Well,
Do you not see that as an issue?
well, not totally. I do appreciate exactly what you're saying. But another thing too, that is part and parcel of their developments is they're not wholly reliant on semi-truck traffic. They have smaller vehicles, they have box trucks, they have regular cars and trucks that come and go from their site. And, you know, if it's something they have to work with KYTC to use the Ohm exit, then that's something they can work with them to do.
So do you have, are there specific tenants that you have in mind for these facilities, or is this just spec and then?
So this is spec and a tenant, and I'm not gonna share the information, but
Okay.
it's a plumbing supply company. And, you know, when we mention the type of tenants that would come to this area, I mean, that's a big benefit of this type of product. It's not the cross-dock, which is dependent on truck traffic day in, day out, and it's just, you know, a constant.
Right.
These types of tenants are gonna be more of light distribution and more of manufacturing, to where it's not, you know, it's generally much lower on those traffic counts and
So are you-
the tractor trailers. And
So you're saying-
that's where you see the box trucks, and it's definitely speculative.
I mean, it could be all tractor trailers, but it could also be box trucks and straight axle trucks and.
Yeah,
or-
yes, we're going
But you don't know.
based on general.
Yeah, but you don't know for
what
sure.
we see with this product. Correct.
Okay.
It's speculative. But yeah, I think to some of your comments there and your comment as far as box trucks, yes, that's something that we generally see on some of our developments here and the type of product that we're putting in here. The smaller product size, mid to or small to mid, again, that's generally what we see on the tenant side of things.
You want the 24, 26 straight trucks? Is that talking about the 24-foot trucks? Straight trucks?
Well,
You mentioned, and you were talking about other trucks.
So I mentioned the trailers, 52-foot trailers. Yeah, that's the smaller box trucks. And
Okay.
Box trucks, vans.
And in terms of land use
Fred,
itself.
do you have anything else?
Oh, go ahead.
Okay. No, just in, I mean, go ahead now, if you want to answer that, but I know he says you got some other questions. Go ahead, sir. Click that on.
So a couple of years ago, we had another industrial development in that same corridor that we pushed back on. And it had a lot of the same similarities as this one. You've described this as a campus-style development in the spirit of the comprehensive plan. I don't see it that way, because when I view a campus-style development, I'm thinking of what's on the other side of 480. A lot of different businesses, interconnected streets, where that, you know, large area where you're not brushing up against other land uses. This is more of a pocket development, where you're plopped down in the middle of residential, you got some agricultural, you got some, you know, it's a mix, but it's a pocket development unless it opens up to the south and you get access to the 114, then future, it could develop into that, but right now, it's not in my eyes. You know, you've got 3 buildings that are kind of surrounded, you know, from that point of view. So my concern is where you brush up against this residential development. Has Roebling ever done another development that is that close to a residential zone?
Yes.
Where is that?
In Columbus.
Columbus, Ohio?
Yeah.
Nice. Do you think, I mean, you've mentioned the 50-foot setback from a residential zone. Do you think that's adequate?
50 is the minimum.
That's the standard. Do you think that's
the
adequate?
requirement.
Yeah, no, we don't, and that's why we're not doing any 50-foot setbacks. I
Do you
mean,
think 150 is adequate?
I think
the
the-
smallest is what's 130, I think we had at one point.
And that
120, 130.
In the middle, you had 208,
Yeah,
30.
I think doing it responsibly in terms of the screening and the setbacks and maximizing that, yes, I mean, I think the minimum we see is 130, 120 to 130 on this, and doing it responsibly and having the screening, having the berm, the hillside being 15 feet above the at-grade building of that middle building. I think, yeah, you know, when it comes to traffic, we want to do this responsibly. You know, the intent is not to cut
Yeah, I'm not
corners
saying
with
that
that.
you're not,
You know,
don't
plop a
take me
building
wrong, I'm
right-
not saying you're not doing your due diligence and trying
Yeah.
to make it as least impactful as possible, but, you know, to me, 130 feet is egregiously low. I mean, it's egregiously low. I mean, we've talked in this council about proper transition between residential and industrial zones, have we not?
Right.
Yeah,
Rob
Jenny-
went-
Jenny
Rob-
actually
we
went
went
to-
to,
yeah,
yeah,
go ahead.
and we went to Charlie about it as well.
And we, you know, when we talked about it in this council, we were talking 300 feet, 500 feet, even 1,000 feet, you know. And I've looked at, you know, other developments, you know, nationally, and, you know, anywhere from 300 feet to 1,000 feet is kind of the standard. So when you show me a plan that's got a building that's 130 feet from property line, or 200 feet, or, you know, it raises my eyebrows, I gotta tell you. So, and I don't know that the screening that you've got there is gonna, you know, lessen the impact on the people that live there. Those houses have been there a long time, you know, a long time. And I don't know that having 3 industrial buildings there that have steady traffic all day and all night is really the right thing to do right now. I mean,
Well, I appreciate your comments, and, you know, we're just going through the process. We're responding to policies that this legislative body adopted. And, you know, it's a mix of things in the comprehensive plan. We believe this area is a mixed use area. There's industrial uses, there's commercial uses, there's residential uses.
yeah.
Following the new policies and recommendations that are set forth in that document, we believe we hit the marks on significant amount of them.
Yeah, and I've read your filings there, and you brought up the comprehensive plan quite a bit. So let me walk you through, like, goal 1, new development should not create significant negative impacts on the surrounding community and local infrastructure. Understand, you put sidewalks in, you go improve the drainage, that's great, I appreciate that. But again, the setback is what really, you can't lessen the impact of a building being that close to a residential zone. You know, you can put buffers in there, but like I said, 130 feet to me just seems really low. And then when you go to 1B, require adequate transitions in land use, intensity, or scale, buffers between incompatible land uses. I don't know if 130 feet is an adequate transition. I mean, I feel in my gut it's not, you know. My gut tells me if I owned a house on Stephen Drive, and that was being built right behind my house with a 130-foot setback, I'd be pissed.
Brad, actually, both sides. I mean, think about the porters.
Well, and that was my next question. And Andrew asked it, like, did you do any renderings of what way those buildings would look from his perspective?
Yeah, there was an
Yeah,
image
there was,
in here.
I don't know what's going on here, but, yes, there was a rendering in the presentation there.
Okay. And then 2A, where it mentions the traffic and the transportation. I've told you my feelings on the 114 versus the 116. That road has not been improved since Charles Hampton was put in. I don't know, how long ago was that? It's been 20, 25 years, 30 years? It's been a long time. Yeah, that road, and that road wasn't, yeah, that road wasn't put there to facilitate industrial traffic. That was just a smoother access point to go out Cedar Grove Road, because everybody had to wind through Salt River to get on Cedar Grove Road. So there really hasn't been any major changes through that section of road on that side of the interstate. I mean, I'd venture to say nothing's happened on that road in, the last 15, 20 years, really. unless you point at the logistics center that was put back there on old 480, and I challenge anybody to say that was an improvement. So, my last question is there's 5 properties involved in this. 3 of them in the future land use map did have it as industrial. 2 of them were slated to be commercial, but you're asking for industrial on all 5.
That's right.
So explain to me how the 2 that are slated for commercial, how that is inappropriate and it should be industrial.
Well, 2 properties you're referring to would be the property that is accessed, that's solely accessed, and we've
The shaft
committed to a condition that we won't develop that parcel other than just access until a later date, which would require us to go back through the planning process to do that. The second one is the M&R Investments property, which is a secondary property, has no frontage on a commercial road. So, you know, the only way that we really practically see that as appropriately staying commercial is if it is consolidated with a property that has frontage on that. Otherwise, it can be consolidated with property that is slated to go industrial, which the property abutting to the south is. And if that's brought into a larger campus-style development, which I know you don't look at it as a campus-style, but it's a very much smaller in scale type of development, we believe it does resemble some campus-style characteristics that once it's brought into that area, which from that point south is all slated to go industrial, it would work. So,
But that's a big if, right?
well, it's
'Cause
kind of,
that would take you right through the existing Merriman. I believe it's, Merriman owns the properties to the south, right?
right, I'm just replaying what the adopted policies that you all have show.
Yeah, and so, let me pose a question to you, like, and put yourself in their shoes. So, say that does open up and then you develop that entire campus out to, Ohm Drive. And then you've got 44 homes and an apartment complex that are all surrounded by industrial uses. So, does that make that area more desirable or no? For people that wanna live there?
Probably not, but I would push back on the idea that it's gonna lessen their property value, because I believe.
Oh, I wouldn't say that either. I wouldn't say it's less than the property value, but who does it make it valuable to? That's the question.
People that would look to acquire their property.
Exactly.
I mean, it's a tough spot, no doubt. I mean,
And
when
that-
65 came through, you got a bunch of commercial/industrial uses that align 65 right in front of Stevens. And then, you know, there's a long process where it's very thought out to put together where you think these areas are going. And it was unanimously adopted that these areas are going to industrial. And so that is gonna get interest in people like Roebling to come and look at acreage, like this acreage.
Sure, I don't have blinders on. I understand the way things are going, but I also don't wanna create a situation where we feel like we're forcing people out based on the way we developed our city, right? There's things that ought to happen on their own timeline and their own schedule, and, you know, and that's kind of the point I brought up with the last development. It felt like if we put that there, then it was just gonna force other people to move, and then, you know, I don't think that's the way we wanna do our land use and planning. So you mentioned the plot that fronts 480, that you're using just for an entrance. So you're rezoning that to industrial, but you don't plan on developing it.
Not at this time, there's no intent to.
But there's nothing binding that says you can't, right?
Says we have to go back through the planning process if we want to develop it.
Yes. That's binding? Was that
That's
part of the plan? Okay. Okay, that's all I got for now.
Right, thank you. I appreciate it, man. Good job. Ms. Bonnie?
On the land that is behind the buildings, it's agricultural, there's a stream that runs through there. Are you all gonna have any impact on that stream?
Is that a blue line, Bonnie?
I don't think it's blue line.
Is that, I don't know if that.
No,
that
it's
blue
not
back
blue
there.
line.
Okay.
They're already having trouble with trucks coming down through that private driveway, going back there and getting stuck. can't get turned around, tore up their property. Also for, the 114, the on-ramp northbound is horribly short and we can't fix that. So this is another problem, having more traffic getting on 65 north there. And like Brad said, that the crossover wasn't designed for tractor trailers. I see that being a big problem. We have a huge problem with gridlocks, and I see that this could cause a further gridlock without the widening of the road or anything. I believe that we're gonna shut our citizens down. At 5 o'clock, if I wanna go to Kroger and come back, it's gonna take me over half an hour, and I only live 5 minutes away. And sometimes longer than that, yes. So I do see an impact on our traffic. The traffic on Cedar Grove is still bad. It moves better with the crossover, but still for the people who live on Stephen Drive, it's not better for them. It made it worse for them. They're having a harder time getting in and out. And that's what I have.
All right, thank you, Ms.
Thank
Martin.
you.
Jennifer?
Mine was all, which Mr. Porter and Brad have already taken care of. Mine were objectives 1A and 1B, so, Brad said it was. Huh?
State what
those
objectives are for the audience, because I'm sure they come
And then, like Brad said, objective, 1A is new development should not create significant impacts on surrounding community and local infrastructure. And I do know that this would impact Stevens Drive and Mr. Porter's property. And then, objective 1B, require adequate transitions in land use intensity or scale and/or buffers in between incompatible land uses to enhance the character and functionality of each land use type. And like I said, me and Rob Adams, we met with Charlie Spalding at Planning and Zoning and discussed the fact that we do need better transitions between our industrial and our residential properties. We gotta stop putting warehousing or commercial business properties should go. So, that was, thank you.
I have something else too.
Absolutely. Thank you, Jennifer.
First off, there's wetlands back there. Are we allowed to touch wetlands?
I was gonna ask about natural springs too.
Yeah, the natural springs. There's is it an oak tree?
Hickory?
A hickory tree that's a rare hickory tree.
A mammoth hickory.
Mammoth hickory?
And what about the wildlife? I mean, there's a red-tailed hawk. I've seen several things when I was back there there was nesting geese. Yeah.
I'm sorry.
She said, can she stand up?
Absolutely.
Yes, you
I
can.
can't see.
Yes.
Oh, you're hiding from me. There you are. I couldn't see you. Yes, ma'am. Sorry about that. I couldn't see you. I kept like, where's she at? I hear
Thank
somebody.
you, Ms. Campbell.
I'm sorry.
I talked to the Army Corps of Engineers.
Yes,
They
ma'am.
told me that the other day.
Uh-huh.
They consider that area wetlands.
Okay.
They also, there's a mammoth hickory tree back there that's on the scarcity list. And they said if there's any kind of development going on, that tree would have to be moved. It would have to be moved to a location that it is suitable for, because it only grows in a wetland.
Is that on the property itself? You guys?
That's on the
Okay.
Merriman property, back up to the,
Okay.
to the Mooney Hill that they want to push
Okay.
down over top of it.
Yeah, I'm just not aware of it, but thank you.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay.
All right.
Also, they said if by any chance that this gets approved to the local level.
Yes, ma'am.
They would have to go to the Army Corps of Engineers and get federal permits. They said that those permits would have to, because of the mitigation and loss of aquatic, resources, impact streams, the wetlands, and the animals that are on that. There's, like I said, there's nesting geese on there. There's two pairs of nesting geese that nest there every year. They're there now. But the tree is on the scarcity list. It's close to going on, the endangered species, because it had been over harvested through years and years and years.
Yes, ma'am.
And they said that, that would have to be taken care of.
Okay. Well, let me do this real quick. I don't want to forget. So what's your name again?
My name is Mary Campbell, and I live at 625 Stevens. I'm right there.
625 Stevens? Okay,
I'm right
okay.
there at the end of Stevens Drive.
Yes, ma'am. Well, thank you. And listen, guys, I guess you'll have to do some research on that. I'm not aware of that as far as the tree. Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah, requirements are requirements. We wouldn't be looking
Yeah,
to
just-
skirt any requirement, that's for sure.
All right, so they'll make sure, Ms. Campbell, I just want to make sure, I appreciate you bringing that up. Yes, sir.
I'd like to ask the flood man one question.
Yes, sir.
There's a natural ditch, been there for thousands of years, going within 50 feet of their warehouses.
Uh-huh.
I talked to the EPA, they cannot change the natural waterway of that ditch. I was wondering what he's
Is,
gonna do about
is there a name for that? Is it just a ditch back there? Is that what it is?
it. It's been there for thousands.
Is there, I don't know if there's a name for that water.
Yeah, it runs,
What? I can't hear you, Gaynell.
that ditch runs right down within the middle of the property they're going to develop. It's a
Is it drainage, is that drainage ditch? Okay. I just couldn't hear, and I wasn't sure if there was a,
It's been there for thousands of years.
okay, wow. All
And
right.
EPA said they cannot change the natural course of the waterways.
He's right.
called him and asked him.
Yep, he's writing all this down, so obviously they need to go check all that. Thank you, thank you. And what's your,
Like you can't.
Mr. Campbell, okay. Lucky Camp, Lucky, all right, all right. I like it, I like Lucky, that's good. Is there anybody else? I mean, obviously, they've been trying to answer questions, and listen, the one thing I want you all to understand, okay, this is the way it should be, this is the process. I've talked a lot about it in these meetings, okay? The pitchforks and torches, yeah, we're not doing that anymore. We're just gonna come in and talk like adults. You guys have brought up some good points. They're making notes. This is what's been, since we started this thing, when the first time they came into City Hall. This is the way. So whether it gets approved or not approved is the idea that we're having an adult conversation. This is what I want, okay? It doesn't mean that there's a way that I look at things, okay? We don't have anything for our families. That is my focus. If you don't see that, you're not looking. I'm sorry. If you're not looking to see that we're building all this for families. But what I want to make sure you understand, we get it. The sensitivity that Brad mentioned, that's why these guys are hearing all this, because we know. We'd be saying the same things you guys are saying. So we get it, but we're trying to figure a way that when we have this growth, do we have a way to make a compromise, or it doesn't? That's what these folks have to do. So, and it's important for you all to understand. I just really appreciate, okay, because everything that you guys have mentioned, this was not happening before. You weren't having these public meetings with these folks. What was the lady said? I guess Sheila back here, God love you, but I want to tell you this. Okay, they did have a planning and zoning about that back here, but what they didn't do was really maybe explain everything. It is a nice complex, but there could have been more detail to help those folks understand what was going on, right? Yes, yes, ma'am. I just want to make sure that you understand, there are things that get done. I just think that no matter what happens, I want you all to understand, this is the 4th presentation, okay? Again, whether you like it or not, you've heard it 4 times. But I just want to appreciate Robin coming in here and showing you things that they're trying to do. Again, it goes right with the comprehensive plan. It's been approved by everybody. It's just, maybe we need to look more at that. But you don't change the rules in the middle of a game. So we got to figure out how we make compromises. But I do think there's some serious conversation. Mr. Tony Thompson back here, we'll be coming to see you.
Mayor,
Planning and zoning, yes.
on the
Love you,
Brat-
Tony.
on the Bratcher Estates, those buildings were approved many years ago. That was way before any of us were here. So that's why nobody was notified, because it happened a long time ago and those people were notified a long time ago. So unfortunately, that was unfair for the people who own it now, but it had already gotten its approval, so there wasn't anything that we could do about that.
All right, thank you, Ms. Vine. Ms. Faith.
Well, I'm
Robert,
like you, I appreciate everybody coming out, because that's what the community needs to do,
Yep.
is start standing up for themselves. We're here to stand up too, but we need to hear from you, and I've got a lot of phone calls and a lot of emails, and I appreciate everybody that reached out to me. So this is a community right here. It's the community I love, and the people that will stand up for what they believe in. I was told by somebody in this room right before the meeting, and this really bothers me. They told me that they already heard that this was a done deal. Well, I'm sorry, it's never a done deal till we sit up here and say yes or no. Nobody out here knows what we're thinking unless we tell you. So I want to make it vocal that, we're the ones that's making the decision. And it's a hard decision, it really is, because you want to do what's right for the community and the people. But I am so happy to see so many people here. So many people that's well-educated and well-grounded in their home. I'm not the biggest educated person, but I love my community more than lots of things, other than my dog.
Thanks, Faith. Rob?
So a couple things on that.
Follow me now.
I gotta follow you. Second, I gotta be second, okay. I've seen a lot of comments on Facebook as well, and I think I can speak for everybody on this council. We are watching Facebook. We can't talk on Facebook. It would be a quorum. There's so many times I'm like, oh, I wanna say something, and I can't. So, just note that we do hear you, even if it doesn't seem like it. And even if you're not here, we do hear the complaints. We live here too. And then somebody mentioned robots, and I want to say something about that as well, because we've had robots in Shepherdsville for 25, 30 years. Wave 3 did a story about Christmas with Rivian. Yes, 300 or 200 new robots in Shepherdsville. Thing is, those are specialized robots. Even the other day, I went to Go Eat, had a server that brought food, and it was a robot.
In Shepherdsville?
No.
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 I'm like, oh my gosh.
But just right outside of it.
He was a robot.
And then, as well as, like at Menards, you have specialized robots like sweeping the floor and all that.
BJ's even has a robot.
BJ's has a robot.
Yes.
Um,
They have her name is Tammy, by the way.
But these,
Tammy at BJ's over there by the mall.
these are all specialized robots, and the thing is, Tesla is working on Optimus robot that's supposed to come out next year. Sometimes Elon Musk is a little late, but he's not usually that late. They're humanoid robots, and that's a game changer because that would be robots that can do all the work in a warehouse, not just specialized tasks. So, and that includes manufacturing. They're working in Tesla right now. Robots are working in Tesla right now. So we have to look at alternative ways of generating revenue even for ourselves, because this is like conservative 4 to 5 years down the road. Fully autonomous warehouses. Like I've said it before, we have a warehouse in Texas. Every time I go there, there's something more automated about it. Also with AI, that's causing a lot of changes to the
Engineer parts of the high level.
well, just logistics in general, like just in time and all that.
Yeah, but it's not.
So we can't put all our eggs in one basket. We need to look at the future. The future of jobs is going to be more like mom and pop jobs, creative jobs that are niche jobs that, like cutting hair. Like you want a human to cut your hair, right?
Heck yeah. Well, right now, I don't want my hair cut.
Don't get your hair cut by a robot.
I cut my own hair, but. So we have to look at that, and we have to find creative ways of generating revenue and not relying on warehouse jobs to do so, or manufacturing for that matter.
Bob, thank you.
Thank you.
You guys, you can add more to that when we get to around. So, all right. All right. For robots, we're talking for robots. Jennifer, you want robots? You want robots? Okay. She was cute. All right. Yeah, I got you. All right. So first of all, listen, let's make sure, John, I know you're making some notes. Will you check on some of these things and get back? First of all, let me say thank you again for everybody being here. You know, we appreciate you being here, and obviously there are concerns. You brought up some great points, and I think it's important for these guys. They're putting the best foot forward to try to see if there's any compromise with you all at all. Again, these are the 6 people that are gonna make that decision. It is always a tough decision, but we wanna make sure that it's understood, okay? The reason why we don't raise our taxes, matter of fact, we lower them here, is because we have the revenue to do things, okay? So there is kind of a double-edged sword, and we're trying to balance that. We know infrastructure's been way behind, so we're screaming as much as we can, Gaynell. We're gonna keep working on it. I mean, because we know it's an issue for us. But the key in this is that there is a balance. And what I wanted to say more than anything else is this is not slighted or anything else. But in the 3 years I've been mayor, I've had more cooperation out of this group about wanting to try to make it work. Because when it comes to being around residential area, it's the most sensitive thing you got. It's very hard to put things around people's houses. It is. And they know that. And so at least what I want it understood is that at least this is the first group that I've dealt with in 3 years that have that sincerity. So whether you like them, don't give them Christmas cards, at least know from the standpoint of trying to dialogue with you, they are trying to listen. Now, whether it goes wherever it goes, I just think I'm going to tell you both, thank you so much and your group, because I think, Adam, you guys have got good concept. Somebody said not now. I don't remember who was it that said that. Again, most of it has to understand that this is kind of the present. This is where things are with people that own property. Okay, that becomes part of this same issue. And the same thing with developers. So I just want to tell you all thank you. We appreciate all the feedback today. I know it's not always easy, but thank you all for being here and being concerned. Like Faith said, this is what our community does. Try to get together and try to have a dialogue. We're doing much better. I remember coming to some crazy meetings way back when. And I don't want to have any more of those crazy meetings in Shepherdsville. I'd rather have this. I'd rather have a meeting that we can discuss these things and try to see if we can make something work. So first of all, thank you all. Be safe going home. And now, nothing from the chief, nothing from nobody back here.
No, come on.
No, we don't want anything from you. Nope. We don't
Okay.
what's it?
Sorry.
Uh,
When
so-
is the next
So,
meeting?
hey, so our next, before, yeah, we do want to, what's that?
I just wanted to make sure that they didn't.
Yes, do you have anything, no, I'm giving it to you.
Just thanks for everyone's time and comments. Really appreciate the opportunity to get before you. Appreciate it.
No, we appreciate it. So first of all, I want to make sure that all of you know, thank you guys for being here. And then thank you all as well, the residents. All right, so no department heads, I want to make sure we get to, we've had really a healthy 2-hour meeting. And so what we want to do is make sure, there's Joe running off on me. All right, so Bonnie, do you have anything you want to add?
No.
All right, Brad? All right. All right, Jennifer's got hers thumbs up, that's
I'm
good.
good.
Rob, anything else you want to add?
I'm ready for
Yeah,
a bio
robots,
break.
Marston's, what's that?
I'm ready for a bio break.
Bio break, okay. All right, Miss Faith?
Brad, I am impressed.
Yes, thank you.
You blew me away. I don't know. You
She's trying to be
don't
nice to
nor-
you.
Hey, you
I
have
don't
to
want
come
them
to
showing you all
meetings.
get along.
Brad rarely talks, and then he does. He goes,
Right.
okay, I'm gonna go like this.
Yeah, we couldn't hardly hear you, by the
I am
way.
so impressed with you.
All right, anyway, all right,
That's all I
all
have.
right. Mike, you've been quiet down there.
I need an hour.
Okay, you all can leave. Mike's gonna be about an hour. All right, first of all, no, seriously, thank you all for coming out. Mike, do you have anything?
No, I agree that as far as with the.
Now, hang on, guys, hang on. We're just trying to finish up our meeting.
I agree as far as with the state, between you, Jerry, judge, executive, magistrates, council.
Hang on, guys. Bonnie, Bobby, please, just a minute. Guys, can we just give a little courtesy? I got a council member trying to finish up a comment. I realized I was trying to rush you off. I wasn't. I was just trying to make sure that Mike finish up, please.
I said between you, the council, Jerry, at the county level, the magistrates, our two state representatives, our state senator. and
With the
people
Frankfurt last week.
involved, I think we're getting more communication and more done with the state on issues than we've ever had before.
Thank you.
Not that it's easy.
It's not easy. I mean, it's like everybody's fighting for that money, and we need to fight louder than anybody else.
Yeah.
Boulder County deserves that money.
So, you know, it's a slower process.
Yes, it is.
but
Thank you all for
it
coming
is
in.
what it is. Thank you.
Right. Thank you,
Motion
Mike.
to adjourn.
All right. Rob, second by Jennifer, and Miss Brenda.
Hold on.
We're almost, Sam.
Okay, Mike,
Yes.
Faith,
Heck yeah.
Rob,
Yes.
Jennifer,
Yes.
Brad,
Yes.
and Bonnie.
Thank
Yes.
you all so much. Thank you, council.
Lots of bio.
All right,